Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about how to be mysterious and interesting. So this is a dating advice video and how can you appear more mysterious, more interesting when you are dating, right? So you can have more success basically. So you can have, change perhaps the people that you are dating into, your partner, or just have more success on dates in general so you can have more dates, get more experience with dating, okay? So one of the first things that you need to do is you need to create a full schedule. So that means, creating enough so you become busy basically. So one of the reasons why a lot of people don't appear very mysterious when they're dating is because they have all the time in the world to chat to the people that they're dating. And you don't want to be someone that's always available, right? You want to have someone who has a full schedule. Okay, so fill that schedule with work, exercise, projects, learning new skills, seeing friends, seeing family, okay? Because essentially you want to make it so that you only have 1 or 2 evenings a week where you're actually available, right, to go out on a date. So that means when you do start talking to people that you want to date, you've only got a little window to really squeeze them in, okay? And they'll be able to tell that, you're a busy person because you've only got, okay, I'm only available on Tuesdays from the hours of 7 till 9. That's when I'm available, right? So they're going to think, oh, wow, you don't have time this day, that day, your evenings are, everything's jam-packed with you. They may not actually say that to you, but they'll be wondering that, like, why are they only available for just a couple of hours? And why is it only one evening? Or 2 evenings? Why are they only available on those days? What's going on? What's going on with the rest of their time? What are they doing? Why are they so busy? Right? That'll make them wonder about you, right? Because you've only got that little bit of time to squeeze them in, right? And it doesn't mean that you lord it over them and you're like, well, I can try and squeeze you in on Tuesday evening, right? You don't do things like that. You just say that's when I'm available. That's what I've got time for this week, right? You don't make it into a big thing, okay? But the point is that you have a full schedule. And basically, when you have a full schedule and you've got things that you need to do and you're really busy all through the day, and then, you're not going to have time to like needlessly chit chat with people and become too familiar, because that's what happens with people. They become too familiar with the people that they're dating. They're always online. They're always available to chat. And it becomes boring very quickly. But if you're someone that can only just quickly send a quick message because you're busy on to the next thing, that's going to make you seem more mysterious, more interesting, because you've got a life that is full, a life that you're happy with and you're ambitious about, right? Because you've got to make sure that you're filling your time with stuff that is actually really important to you, right? And the stuff that you really like and that brings a lot of meaning to you. Because if you're just pretending to be busy, that's not going to be as effective as if you're actually genuinely busy, you're genuinely inspired and happy and ambitious, and you've got all these things that you're working towards, right? There's a big difference there, okay? So you want to make it so you only got like 1 or 2 evenings spare during the week, right? And you want to set these hours aside for specifically for dating, right? And if for whatever reason you don't get a date that week, then you use that time with something else. Perhaps you learn, you watch a few dating videos. They don't have to be my dating videos, but you're just, watching content on dating to get better at dating and communication skills, that kind of thing, right? So another thing that can help you become more mysterious and interesting is if you only use phone calls and messaging apps as tools you use to set up dates or appointments, not for hours of chatting nonsense, right? So if you've, if you've got a smartphone or you use messaging apps and things like that, then it's good to only use that for meeting up, right? Obviously, it's okay to send a few messages back and forth. Because, when I met my wife, I matched with her on Tinder and I sent her a message. And I think I just said, oh, I think your name's really cool. Her name's Rosanna, so I thought that was a really interesting name. So I said that to her. And then she said, something similar back. We had a tiny chat. And then I asked for her Facebook details so I could make sure she wasn't a catfish. So because she was actually a genuine person, which she gave me. This all happened in the same evening. And then I messaged her on Facebook Messenger and arranged a date with her, arranged to hang out with her. Right, and this all happened within the same evening. Like, I was fast about it. Like, I got to know her a little bit to begin with, just trying to figure out, is this person real? Is this person genuine? And then once I realised that she was, when I got her Facebook details, sort of, had a little scroll, had a little look around on there, right, see who she was. And then I was like, okay, she seems really cool. I'm going to ask her out on a date, see what happens. Arranged a date with her. You know, it was set up like about 5 days in advance. So I think it was like I asked her out on Monday, and then we met up on Saturday or something like that. And that's how it happened, right? It was really fast, right? Really fast. So that's what you want to do. You want to do something like, okay, I'm not going to try and get to know her over the phone, right? I'm going to get to know her when I meet her. I'm going to just check and make sure she's a real person first, you know, get some details off of her. And then once I know she's a real person, that's okay. Let's go for it. Let's go and have a date. Let's arrange this thing, right? Get going, get moving, right? Don't spend too much time online just messaging, chit chat, going back and forth. Try and set a date up as soon as you possibly can, right? Get the ball rolling, right? Because obviously you want to spend time with this person. You want to start making out with this person. You want to be close to them, cuddling, having sex, you know, doing all that kind of stuff, right? If that's what you want to do, and that's the end point, then let's get going, right? Let's start arranging dates. Let's start meeting up. Let's start hanging out, right? So use the phone and for messaging as a way to meet up with them, as a way to arrange dates with them, not for endless chit chats, okay? Because it's not going to be as beneficial. It's not going to be as fruitful, right? The end goal, obviously, is to find a relationship, if that's what you're looking for. It might not be, and perhaps it's just hookups for you, but still, in order to hook up, you have to meet up, right? You have to go on a date, right? So that's what you need to focus on. I'm going to focus on using my phone as a way to get to know someone very briefly, you know, especially in that first conversation, like what I did. And then once I know it's a real, genuine person, I'm going to meet up with them, okay? Ask them when they're available. So that's how I conversed when I met my wife, with how I conversed with my wife. So when you do go on a date with them, if you want to appear mysterious and interesting, make the conversation mostly about the other person, right? Don't make it about you. Don't be just sitting there talking about all of your accomplishments and stuff, right? Ask them, become genuinely interested in the other person, right? I really want to know about them. Like, you want to, if you're attracted to someone and you really like someone, you should be fascinated with them, right? You should be absolutely like, I want to know every detail about you. I want to know all about your life, right? So that's what you got to think of. You know, don't just sit there and talk about how great you are, because that's attention. It's attention seeking and it's approval seeking. If you're sitting there just talking about all of your accomplishments and all the things that you like because it's what makes you feel comfortable to talk about, it's approval seeking behavior, right? You're hoping that they're going to like you by the stuff that you're talking about, right? So, of course, it's okay for them to ask. It's okay for you to talk about yourself. Of course it is, right? Because you're still getting to know the other person, right? But you want to make it mostly about them, right? Because you should be fascinated with this person that you're on a date with. So you should be asking them all the time, like, okay, so where did you grow up? What kind of school did you go to? Who are your friends? What's your relationship with your parents? What are they like? Do you have any siblings? You know, what are they like? Have you got any funny stories? Because I love hearing about stories about siblings and how they have like rivalries and stuff. I think it's really fun to listen about. Ask loads of questions about them. Ask them what they want to do with their life, what their dreams are, you know. You should be able to think of endless things to talk about if you're really genuinely interested in the person sitting across from you, okay? So, and when they do ask you about yourself, don't give a shallow answer, right? Because this is sometimes the mistake I see a lot of people doing, right? And that is, you ask them a question like, oh, what kind of movies do you like? And they tell you what kind of movies they like. And then they're like, oh, what kind of movies do you like? And then you say something like, oh, I like Lord of the Rings. And then that's that. You don't say anything else, right? So if someone asks me, what's your favourite TV show? You know, I'll say, oh, I really like Game of Thrones. And the reason why I like the Game of Thrones is because, you know, I just like the idea of a family being just totally separated and their journey to find each other again. You know, that's what I personally liked about Game of Thrones. See, it's a lot more deeper and a lot more meaningful. And I still managed to get it out in a couple of sentences without banging on about it for an hour, right? It's giving a deep, meaningful response, but obviously in a quite brief way. But it's meaningful. It's not just like, oh yeah, I like Game of Thrones. You know, it's not something like that, right? So, you want to give deep, meaningful responses that don't go on for hours, okay? And that will make you seem more interesting because you've actually got an opinion about something. And it's not just, oh, I like Led Zeppelin, I like Game of Thrones, I like Lord of the Rings, right? That's just like really boring and very surface level and very shallow. You got to give a deeper meaning towards these things, okay? And that will make you appear more interesting, right? Because you've got a really deep opinion about something, and it's something that's really important to you, right? And you give like an emotional reason as well, right? So that will really help with appearing more mysterious and interesting when you are dating. Also, just to give you some more advice on what I did when I met my wife, is when we went out on that first date, I waited about 5 days before asking her out again, right? So I didn't chit chat with her in between those days. You know, I gave her time to think about the date. I gave her time by herself, right? And then after that date, she started to reach out to me more after the second date, right? She started reaching out to me more. And when she started reaching out to me more, that's when I started to arrange more dates, because it was like Corey Wayne. Like Corey Wayne says, like, when a woman reaches out to you, assume that she wants to see you. So arrange a date with her, right? And I think that's a really good rule, a really good important rule to use when someone that you like, someone that you're dating messages you. Just assume that, oh yeah, they're reaching out to me because they want to hang out, so I'm going to arrange a date with them. I'm going to ask them when they're available, when are they next free to hang out, right? And then eventually, over time, over the weeks, you'll start hanging out with each other more and more, and then you'll end up in a relationship, okay? So that's my advice for that. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com. And if there's anything you'd like me to discuss in a future video, if there's anything you'd like me to discuss, then please leave it down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.